Giants' turn to try and answer, and here's Saquon Barkley, and he's off to the races. The 30, the 20, Saquon for 6. Deep to right field. Oh, baby. Put it on the scoreboard. The kid has done it again. Jordan, open. Chicago with the lead.
Ladies and gentlemen, a pleasant good evening to everybody. Lewis Sports Network back once again with a second straight live stream with yet another video. Make sure to smash that like button. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. Make sure your notifications are turned on. Make sure you guys are sharing this on your social media platforms. Truly appreciate it. Welcome everybody to the live stream. We got a lot to talk about today on these NBA topics, including the one on the background. Steven Adams reportedly possibly might be in a trade to the Boston Celtics. We got to talk about this. So salute to everybody that is in the chat already. I have already left the link in the description in the chat. So whoever wants to pull up, make sure to be able to pull up. And again, salute to everybody that is in the chat already. So let me just check real quick before I let. That's right. Shout out to my man Weiss. We are back. Shout out to my man Ryan. Salute once again, no doubt. All right. My man Weiss, welcome back, my brother. How's everything going with you?
Not too bad, man. Not too bad. How about yourself? Awesome. I was listening to the stream. It was really good. It was really good.
All right, man. No, I appreciate it, man. Like I just said, I try to just show my versatility that I just know more than one thing. But at the same time, man, we back on this basketball talk, man. So I just wanted to get your thoughts on this because I found this very interesting because this is something that we kind of touched upon last night. And the Boston Celtics are looking to try to get Steven Adams in a possible 3-team deal. And there's a bunch of deals that Boston is actually trying to pull off that I was actually looking up online. But what's your thoughts, Weiss, if, Boston is able to pull the move off and they get Steven Adams, man? Who do you think they're going to have to give up? And do you think they're going to be giving too much to try to get Steven Adams if they do?
I don't know. They don't have much of anything to give up besides draft picks. I mean, if they can give up some of their rookie big man off the bench, I put big man in quotations. I think they can pull it off, but I don't even know what they would give up. That's the only thing I say about that.
Okay, so what I'm looking at is, so this is 3 deals that they probably could acquire Steven Adams from Oklahoma City. One of them is, so I heard that the Pelicans they have no plans from what they're saying to give up JJ Redick, but I heard that the Celtics are trying to get both Steven Adams and JJ Redick some way, somehow to the Boston Celtics in a 3-team deal. So here's the deal that I'm looking at right now. It says that the Celtics would get Steven Adams and JJ Redick, and that would be huge for Boston. The Thunder would get Romeo Langford, Grant Williams, Robert Williams. Now, here's the caveat. That means that Danny Ainge would have to now give up. I think he would have to give up a first-round pick for this year's draft. The Pelicans is the third team that's involved in the deal. They would have to give up their first-round pick. They would get Memphis's 2020 first-round pick, and then they would get the Bucks' first-round pick. So the Thunder would get 4 first-round picks in this year's draft, along with Langford, Grant Williams, and Robert Williams. And then the Pelicans would get Daniel Theis and Gordon Hayward. That's the first deal. What do you think on that one?
Okay. I mean, OKC trying to really they really trying to. Man, they build asset army. I think that's good. I think it'd be better if they can. I don't know. If they could get some depth too, that would be great. But
I think because I just think
how many draft picks are they giving up again?
I believe this is 4 draft picks within the 3 teams because I think the Thunder are getting picks from Boston. I think they're getting 2 from Boston and 2 from New Orleans each. So New Orleans is giving up picks as well.
Okay.
So Boston's giving up 3 players and they're giving up 2 picks, while the Pelicans are giving up They're giving up two. Actually, no, Boston's giving up 5 players. It's just 3 of them are going to OKC and 2 of them are going to the Pelicans along with 2 picks. So it's almost like they're pretty much giving up 7 things all combined to get back JJ Redick from the Pelicans and Steven Adams from the Celtics.
Yeah, I think it's a decent deal. I don't know.
The way I see it is they still have to build their bench. Like you said, they're going to need depth, obviously. But I think in terms of starting 5, I think you have a very fearful starting 5 in terms of him, Redick, Brown, Tatum, and then Kemba Walker. I think that's a pretty solid starting 5 that can probably go toe to toe with just about anybody in the NBA. The only issue is they really do need to shore up that bench, though.
That's the only thing that's preventing me from saying oh yeah, this is a good deal, because what picks do they have in this draft? I didn't even look.
It says first round. I don't know exactly what position the Celtics are going to be in terms of this first round draft. It might be top 15. I'm probably guessing most likely. If not top 15, somewhere late first round. It probably sounds like for me. So if it's a late first round, I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal, honestly, unless if it was a top pick. But that's kind of like what we're looking at right now.
It looks like they got the 14th pick and the 26th pick.
Okay, 14th, yeah, like I said, top 15.
14th, 26th, and 30.
Okay, more or less. So 2 late first rounders and a top 15. Not the best, not bad. So that I wouldn't say, that's really not bad in terms of what Boston's giving up. If there was a top 10 pick, that'd be crazy. Okay, so here's another one involving Steven Adams. We have another trade. This one is involving with the LA Clippers. So we have the Celtics will get Steven Adams and they would get Lemon Pepper Lou Will. Wow. While the Thunder, this time they get Patrick Beverly, Zubac, JaMychal Green, Ronnie McGruder, and then they will get that's from the Clippers. And then and they also get Landry Shamet. Wow. And they'll also the
Clippers get.
The Clippers would get Gordon Hayward, Lugens Dort, and they get Daniel Theis. And then you have Vincent Poirier and Carson Edwards also go to the Thunder, and then they would get those 4 first-round picks.
Whoa, this is a mega trade. What the heck? I don't think that the Clippers. I don't think it would be in the best interest to give up that much. I mean, they're not the best players ever, but that's a lot of kind of depth that they're giving up for Gordon Hayward and Lou Dort. I don't know.
The only reason I like it for the Thunder is Landry Shamet, I think, would fit well on that team.
Oh yeah,
with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
I think they're the winners out of the whole thing.
Yeah, the Thunder are pretty much winning because they're in a fire sale. So pretty much they're trying to get as much assets as they can to pretty much, do that, to be able to pretty much clean house and then start over. Because the one thing I got to say about Sam Presti, shout out to Karam, I just think that Sam Presti has a good idea of drafting talent. But I think when it comes to architect and trying to build a team, I don't think he's the best at. And that's just me personally, because he's been able to acquire guys from trades. He's been able to, he's gotten talent. But I just think in terms of building a team, Sam Presti's not the best at. So I think that this time, I think Sam Presti is trying to build the team the way I think that he was kind of supposed to build it. So we're going to see what happens. But I just hope that he doesn't fall into that Boston Celtic situation.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like he's doing. It sounds like he's getting a whole lot of assets, and say those turn out and they have too much of I just think they're going to come to a point where they might have too much at their disposal.
Yeah, no doubt. So let me just say hi to the chat real quick before we continue, man. And again, I want to salute to Weiss for coming on the stream. Again, guys, the link is already in the description inside the chat if you guys want to hop on. Like I said, shout out to G Money, shout out to Joel, shout out to D Smooth. He says, what is happening here? We are looking at possible trade scenarios for Steven Adams because the Thunder are looking to trade him. So that's what we're looking at right now. G Money says Boston could use Rodney Hood because he can create his own shot. Yeah, I didn't hear that Ronnie Hood was available. Are the Blazers trying to trade Ronnie Hood? If they are, that's crazy if he would go there. Salute to Edwin, man. Appreciate you. Again, salute to Karam as well. Oh, I wanted to ask you real quick. What are your thoughts on Atlanta trying to go after Gordon Hayward? Because I also heard that the Hawks are wanting to sign him.
Depends on who they're giving up. Like I said, I think that would be a good fit, honestly, just to have a good starting forward in that lineup with John Collins and with Trae Young. Yeah, I think that's solid.
You would have to question who they give up. If it has to be one of their young players, I wouldn't go on that move. And again, Gordon does make a lot of money, so and he hasn't really been the Gordon Hayward, that was in his last season in Utah. So I if I'm Atlanta, I honestly would stay away from that because I don't know how he's going to be. So I would stay away from that because he's been inconsistent, since he's come back from injury. And he makes a lot of money. And with Atlanta, I want them to develop their young players. So I would stay away from trying to get Gordon Hayward. I just don't think that, giving up a potential star player just to get him, I think would be the right move. They do lack veterans, but I just don't know if Gordon Hayward is the way to go. I think
he should go to Indiana. I think that would be a good place for him to go.
Oh, he would be back. He would be back where he played his college ball in Butler. So, that'd be crazy. For him to go back home. G Money, man, what you got on? Salute to you first of all, and second of all, man, what you got on this on possibly Steven Adams getting traded to Boston with a couple of these teams?
What's going on? If I were Boston, this is a good move because Steven Adams can block shots, can protect the rim, and he can do pick and roll with him. What killed Boston against Miami? Bam Adebayo just ate up Daniel Tice in transition and ate up Daniel Tice in the paint. If you get a Steven Adams, you can get somebody that can protect the rim, you know what I mean, and can give Boston second opportunities. You know what I mean? They didn't have that last year. So I think that if Boston gets a Steven Adams, it improves their interior defense and it can get more second opportunities for guys like Brown and Tatum to work with, and execute.
All right. So how about this, guys? I'll get back to the Steven Adams thing in a little bit. Check this out. So obviously last night, the Milwaukee Bucks made a huge splash. They were able to get Bogdan Bogdanović from Sacramento, and they got Drew Holiday in a trade. What's your thoughts on Drew Holiday and Bogdanović now coming to the Milwaukee Bucks to kind of give Giannis support, from both of you guys?
Good moves if you're Milwaukee because Drew Holiday can put the ball on the floor, can create some shot, and it's very tough defensively, man. And that's what they need because last year in the playoffs, Goran Dragic, Tyler Hero, etc., were eating up Eric Bledsoe alive. So if you get a Drew Holiday, you get somebody who can handle the ball and somebody who can put on ball pressure. For Bogdanović, you get somebody who can put the ball on the floor and can catch and shoot the rock. The thing with Bogdanović is he's inconsistent a little bit, but other than that, he can shoot the rock. So you get 2 3-point shooters and guys who can handle the ball. But here's the problem, right? Even though Milwaukee got better with their backcourt, they're going to lose a bench. That's going to be a huge issue. They lost a lot of pieces, like DiVincenzo, Ilyasova, George Hill. They lost
DJ
a lot.
Wilson. They lost DJ Wilson, too.
Exactly. They lost a lot of bench pieces. So even though Milwaukee's starting 5 is going to be sick, they're going to need a bench, and they're going to need shot creators. You know what I mean? And here's the thing. They got to re-sign Brook Lopez, too. So even though Milwaukee got better with their backcourt, they gotta get a bench though.
They really did mortgage. They not only did they mortgage their bench, they mortgaged their low-key their future as well. So that they're in a win now mode. If they can get Giannis to sign back, I think it's a big W. But if Giannis ends up walking, I just feel like I don't know. I just think it all depends on what Giannis does. That's how this trade will end up turning out. Yes, they improved their starting lineup. They're more versatile in the playoffs, but They got no bench, and they give up a lot of draft picks. So that's how I feel about it. I don't know.
That's what I'm saying, man. They're gonna need a bench. And again, I was one of those people who thought the Bucks can get to the NBA Finals. I was emphatically wrong. So it's like this time around, yeah, at best with these moves, it can get them to the second round and maybe in the Eastern Conference Finals. But is this gonna be Brooklyn or Miami? I don't know, man. At best, they can get to the second round of the Eastern Conference Finals. But like we said, Milwaukee needs to get more bench pieces if they want to get to the NBA Finals and potentially win it all.
I think it's a big W if they get Giannis to sign back. Honestly, if they can get Giannis to sign an extension there, I think that they're winning. But if not, and he leaves, it's kind of like they have a big hole.
Well, let me ask you guys: Do you think Giannis comes back and signs that 5-year max extension? Yes or no?
It all depends on how they. I feel like it depends on how they do in the playoffs. Honestly,
I agree. It depends how far Milwaukee goes. And my opinion is this: I understand Brooklyn is talented. I understand Miami's deep, but there's no more excuses if you're Milwaukee. There's no more excuses. Okay,
you've had no more excuses. You got the back-to-back MVP Defensive Player of the Year. Like there's no reason why you shouldn't be winning, and you have pieces to go along with that. Complementary pieces that can shoot. No excuses.
Exactly, because this team is good. Listen, I'm not saying they will make the NBA Finals. I'm not saying that, but this team has an opportunity because here's the thing. We don't know how Brooklyn's going to look next year. Miami, we don't know how they're going to look next year. Philadelphia, I don't think they'll do much next year. Toronto, they don't have a go-to guy. Indiana, Victor Oladipo might not be a pacer long term. So it's like, if you're the Bucks, this is still an opportunity for you to get to the NBA Finals for the first time since the 70s when you had Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. So if you're the Bucks, excuse me?
Literally since Nam.
Exactly. So if you're the Bucks, you have all they need is to get reserves that can help out their starting five, and they're good. Do I think the Bucks will make the finals? No. Yeah, I was on the Bucks bandwagon a little bit going to the NBA Finals, but I was emphatically wrong. So again, I don't believe in the Bucks at this point. But if you're Milwaukee, there's no excuses, man, because this may be Giannis' last year in Milwaukee. So to me, it depends how far they go. If the Bucks, to me, get to the NBA Finals, I think Giannis will stay. But if they lose before that, I think he's gone.
Let me just say this real quick. In terms of regarding the trade between for what the Bucks did made for Drew Holiday, real quick. Personally, I think that it was a good move for the Bucks, even though they did give up a lot. I was cringy when they gave up those first-round picks to get him, along with also bringing in Bogdanovich. I think the good thing about those guys is Bogdanovich can space the floor, which they do need on their team, and it helps to have him in the starting lineup. I think he's a solid playmaker. He could push the ball up the floor when they need to push the pace. So that's another good thing, and he's perfectly fit for today's NBA, obviously, for what he did in Sacramento and what he can do with Mike Budenholzer, since he will be in a system. So that at least is a good thing. And then with Drew Holiday, you're getting defense. You're getting the ability to score, a more consistent scorer than Eric Bledsoe ever was in Milwaukee. And
consistent scorer and consistent shooter,
right?
And he's a defender, and he can hit the three ball too. Don't forget, Drew Holiday. I don't want to change the topic. Drew Holiday has locked down stars, especially Damian Lillard in 2018. Remember that?
He's a lockdown.
Right. So because he is doing that, that's what I'm saying. It basically shows you that Drew Holiday is one of the best defenders in the league, and he's underrated. And he averaged last year, 19 points per game with the Pelicans. So he's going to give you a more consistent option, and that shores up your backcourt with Chris Middleton. The only issue I have is now, what do you do with Chris Middleton? Because now Middleton to me is your third or fourth best player, because he clearly is not a number 2 option. And like you guys said, they need to re-sign Brook Lopez, and they need to shore up that bench. DiVincenzo, he was good, but I think he is going to better fit Sacramento, and he'll get an opportunity to see what he can do, because I felt like he just did not have I don't think that he got the amount of minutes that he should have gotten, that he really could have shown what he could have done. But I think he'll get a much better opportunity in Sacramento, which is good. But which I'm surprised that they didn't. I didn't think it's funny how I didn't think that they could have gotten a guy like Buddy Hield. I thought that he actually would have been a good fit for for the Bucks, especially because I think that he would have actually played better under Budenholzer and his system, as compared to how he played with Luke Walton and how they misused him. But I like Drew as the better option. He's the more consistent and more reliable option than Eric Bledsoe would be, because Eric Bledsoe could not give you anything. And at least with Drew, he can play in the half court, something that Eric Bledsoe was never able to do in the playoffs. And I said it time and time again, if Eric Bledsoe is not playing up and down, he's useless in the playoffs, especially when you make him play half court basketball, because he cannot shoot, where Drew Holiday is a much more consistent shooter. So that's my thought on the Milwaukee Bucks. I don't know if Giannis signs that 5-year extension, because, he could honestly say that he might want to stay, but I would not be surprised if he ends up going out west.
I feel like if he does sign the extension, I think it wouldn't be. I don't think it should be 5 years.
You don't think it's 5 years?
I don't think it should be 5 years.
Okay.
I don't think it should be 5.
Gotcha. All right, guys. So Z Smooth wanted to ask, what do you guys? Okay, he wants to know, what do you guys think of Drew Holiday's playmaking? In your personal opinion, do you think he's one of the best? Do you think he's underrated? Do you think he's a decent playmaker? What do you guys think about Drew Holiday's playmaking abilities that he brings to the Bucks?
He's an okay playmaker, Yeah, he can go to the rim, but he's not like a playmaker like a Chris Paul. You know what I mean? He's a decent playmaker who can, go to the rim and create some shot, especially at the elbow. But he's not the greatest playmaker, but he's decent in my opinion. This is a decent playmaker.
Okay.
Yeah. I think he's a good enough playmaker. When you have Giannis, I don't think you need to be a spectacular playmaker, but I think he can get the job done. It's not. It's more of. It's not a liability. That's all I can say about it. But Eric Bledsoe's shooting was a liability. Drew Holiday's playmaking will not be a liability.
Right. I think most importantly, I think Drew to me, he to me is really going to give them more so defense and scoring. I think that's what they really mostly need, because Drew Holiday, I think when he tries to play make, that's when his scoring and his defense, I think, kind of falters, because he's trying to do all three. And I think Drew Holiday plays best when he is scoring and defending. And
I think the playmaking is going to come from Giannis anyways, with him driving and kicking most of the time. So, I think that's where the playmaking is going to be at.
But let me say this. I know that they need a bench, but in your opinion, and I think that they need this, do you think that they need a playmaker for when they decide to have Drew Holiday in the lineup where he can move to the 2? I think that that's where the Bucks are really going to need a playmaker, where Giannis doesn't have to have the ball in his hands a lot.
Yeah.
I think that you need somebody that when Mike Budenholzer decides to put him in the lineup, that he's able to move, Drew to the 2 and possibly move Middleton to the 3, maybe late in games, because Middleton can play the 2 and the 3. But I think with Drew Holiday, I think for him to really be effective, I think that they're going to have to get a playmaker, a solid playmaker at the very least, where Drew is just focusing on defending, the opposing 2 guards or point guards, whoever they decide to put him on, where he's guarding the backcourt and he gets to score the basketball. Because he does help Giannis. You have a reliable option now. I think that that's what's important in having him there. So I think that that's big for Drew Holiday. So let me just check the chat real quick. Okay. Edwin says, should the Boston Celtics trade Kemba Walker? Let me think about that. Kemba the thing with Kemba is he fits with their team. I think he's erratic because he's not. I wouldn't call him the most efficient player, because he's really more so shoots on volume. That's how Kemba Walker is. That's how he's always been. He's a better fit with the Boston Celtics in terms of their young core. But I think eventually down the line you might have to find a way if you can trade him. I wouldn't say not yet, but I think eventually down the line, if there's a suitable trade to trade away Kemba Walker, I would do it. What do you guys think?
I think they should do it sooner than later, just because of the age discrepancy there. He's not the oldest player in the world, but if you can get a younger, better, cheaper option, then I think so.
Yeah, I agree, man. I agree. And here's the thing: what killed Boston, like I said last year, they needed a playmaker. That's what killed Boston. They needed a playmaker and a veteran to tell the young guys to calm down and play their game. It didn't, Kemba Walker is good, but again, this, but now, what Boston needs is a playmaker. Kemba, I would not trade Kemba now, but I will say this: if Boston like underachieves next season, you may have to trade him sooner than later. Because one, he is getting older, and two, Boston's had multiple chances to get to the NBA Finals. Man, there's no more excuses for this team. Like people say, "Oh, Kyrie was the problem." Well, Kyrie wasn't here, and you lost to a fifth seed. So what's your excuse now? So if you're Boston, there's no more passes. You know what I mean?
Not only was it a fifth seed, it was a fifth seed and a group of second and third year players and some rookies. Like it's kind of bad. It was kind of
Exactly. And here's the thing, like I said, Miami wasn't even expected to make the playoffs earlier last season. And Boston
bad.
still
No.
didn't beat them.
They was a playoff team. I don't think they were not touted to make deep playoff run at all.
Yeah, you get what I'm saying. They were
Yeah,
not expected to go far in the playoffs. That is
yeah.
why I say that again. I know Kyrie did not fit a lot, but it wasn't all his fault. It's also Tatum, Brown, you know, and your Eagles a little bit. And here's the thing, and I'm gonna be honest with you, and this is just me. If Kyrie was on Boston last year, I honestly think they would have beat Miami. You have to understand, some of these games were close. You know what I mean? Kemba was just not very consistent. You know.
He was not consistent, and not only that, he wasn't held to any accountability. Like he just this is you can say, well, this is Kimba's first time ever winning in quotations, but I mean, this is what you always wanted, and you didn't relish in the opportunity. So
He didn't take and he didn't take advantage, man. And here's the thing. And Boston also kind of got lucky getting past Toronto. All right. If Pascal Siakam and Fred VanVleet instead of just play their game, the Raptors will be in the Eastern Conference Finals. Okay. So the Celtics kind of got lucky getting past the Raptors. But what Boston needs is a veteran that can calm the young guys down, and they need playmakers, and they
they
need a
need
bench.
they need
And a
they need
big man.
someone like they need an older Marcus Smart that's more mature but has that grit and can be that leader in the locker room. That's what I think they need.
Right. So let me just look in the comment section real quick. Again, salute to Omar. Appreciate you coming through. Buddha Jesus says Bogdanovich was a solid signing for them. I agree. I think he helps them space the floor, and you need his ability to make plays in the playoffs. I think he helps them, especially igniting their fast break when they get stuck in the half court. So that was big. Shout out to Z Smooth. He says the Clippers not having a reliable playmaker really bit them in the ass these playoffs. Milwaukee needs a reliable shot creator as well. Yeah. Both of those things, because I said it with the Clippers. I said that was one of Doc Rivers' biggest mistakes. He tried to make playmakers out of Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, and that's not their game.
Not their game.
That was a huge mistake that he made. So that was part of it. Okay. All right. Chris Anderson, 11 BC, says Russell Westbrook to the Orlando Magic. I mean, if he goes there, I mean, Russ just pretty much getting his numbers. According to Russ, he wants to win a championship. But and a lot of people have said, which kind of leads me to my next point. Let me just finish the chat real quick, and we'll get back to this one. Kemba's knee is messed up. Yeah, Kemba had quite a few injuries going into that bubble, so he was really not that good. Milwaukee still needs a shot creator. Also, the Clippers do need a playmaker as well. What are you trading Kemba? Would I trade Kemba Walker for Russell Westbrook?
Absolutely not.
No.
No.
Hell no.
No way. I would not do that. So shout out to Chum in the building. He says Philly was stupid for not keeping Jimmy Butler. Oh, absolutely.
Butler and Redick. Butler and JJ Redick. Stupid.
Yeah, they just have poor leadership, honestly, man. Poor leadership in the front office. Once Tatum and Jalen come into their own and Kemba continues to have issues in the playoffs, then you trade him. Kemba is an East point guard, though. I can agree with that. I don't think he would be as good on the West as he would in the Eastern Conference. And like I said before, I think he fits well with those two players in Boston, in Brown and Tatum.
Would you say that? Would you say that Kemba is better than Chris Paul, or in the same realm? You think Chris Paul better?
Yes,
no,
I think.
I was just going to, before G Money goes, I was just going to say that even a 35-year-old Chris Paul, in my opinion, is still better than a Kemba Walker.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah, same thing. Look, the only thing Kemba is better than CP3 is arguably scoring, but other than that, CP3 is more versatile, a better defender, a way better passer, and he's a better leader, man. Chris Paul's
Yeah.
better than Kemba.
And to be honest with you, G Money was mentioning it a little bit. I'm not going to go too much into it, but if you're the Boston Celtics, you really should have swept the Toronto Raptors in the playoffs last year, which is why it goes back to what G Money's saying. They don't really have excuses going into next year. So Tatum and Brown, and like Jay was mentioning, they do have to come into their own. And you have to see how Kemba responds. Hopefully he stays healthy and he can provide the help that they need, at least in the starting lineup, because if he can't, then you're going to have to trade him, because then as good of a fit as Kemba is, he's not giving you production out of the point guard spot. So, and remember, he was supposed to be the better fit, and what Kyrie Irving was not able to do as a leader for Boston, being the number one guy. The Celtics should have gotten CP3, or trying to get him would help them in the playoffs, definitely on the road. The only question is, who would they give up, and would the Celtics take on that contract? Because they already have Gordon Hayward, making a lot of money. So that's why I don't think it would make sense from that aspect. But I understand what you're saying, though. Did anybody else stall? Not from my end. Shout out to Khalil Burton, man. Appreciate you. Again, guys, make sure to smash that like button. Make sure to subscribe if you're new, and make sure you guys are sharing this on your social media platforms. He says Milwaukee made some good moves, but it's not going to be enough for them to win the East. They have a lot of work to do. These are two solid moves. Like I said, the first round picks are cringe, but they had to do something to get rid of Bledsoe. So I can understand that to keep Giannis happy. If Brooklyn plays to their potential, they are going to win the East. I'll get to that Brooklyn part in just a second, but there's something else that I have to get to before that. Chris says, do you think the Miami Heat are going to make some moves? That's a good question, and I don't know. I don't know if they make a move. I don't know if they stand pat.
What did they give up?
I don't know what's really out there for them to get. For them to be able to try to improve their team. I think for right now, I think they just need to develop their young players. I think Bam, can try to take that next step. Obviously, they do need a superstar. That I know. They do need a big to complement Bam Adebayo. That I know too. So those are two holes that they're missing right there. I don't know where you see that in this free agency or possible trade scenario. I don't know what the Heat can do. We'll have to probably wait and see what they could try to put, any potential moves that Miami could do, to try to do. But that is a good question, Chris. I don't know what they're going to do though. Buddha says, I feel like once the Lakers got Schroeder, every team kind of started panicking. Well, the reason is the Lakers are the defending champions, and they just got rid of Danny Green, who was, let's face it, Danny Green was not that good, hasn't been that good the last 2 seasons. And on top of that, Dennis Schroeder gives you a more consistent third option. So that, I think that's the reason. It's just you don't want to stand pat. If you're gonna compete for a championship, you're gonna have to do whatever it takes to try to make sure you put together the necessary pieces around your stars, superstars, or whatever the case is, to be able to compete for a championship. So, and like I said, the Lakers are trying to repeat. So remember, LeBron's trying to get a 5th title. He's trying to repeat for the 2nd time in his career. This will be AD's 2nd title. So they're just looking at it that way. They're just trying to make sure that they are competing for the next several years, because remember, LeBron will be 36 next month. He doesn't have that much time left, even though they want to say he doesn't look like he's slowing down. No, he's starting to slow down a little teeny tiny bit, and I've noticed it. But these are going to keep LeBron playing longer, because he's going to have, good players around him that could consistently, pretty much play good basketball, for the next couple of years at the very least. So
I want to make this quick point. To be honest with you, Dennis Schroeder really could have won 6th Man of the Year if you actually watched the Thunder. He made big plays in crunch time moments, and that was one of the reasons why the Thunder were one of the best teams in crunch time moments, because you had 2 ball handlers in CP3 and Dennis Schroeder. I think Dennis Schroeder should have won 6th Man, to be honest with you.
Well, I was capping for Dennis Schroeder to win 6th Man of the Year this year. I think so. I thought, to me, in my opinion, I mean, there's a couple of guys, but I thought he was the best 6th man, in my opinion, to be able to win the award. So that's how I looked at it. So I thought, in my opinion, he was 6th Man of the Year. Let me just continue, and then I'll get to the next topic. Khalil says Giannis needs to watch how Shaq played around the paint. And real quick, I remember Shaq is talking about how much Giannis is more dominant than him, but I think Shaq is just ridiculous. Giannis hasn't accomplished anything yet for me to say that he's more dominant than Shaq at this point. He's out of position and shouldn't bring the ball up the court every single time. I agree with that because Giannis then does not have the energy to finish games. That's number one. And number two, what he has to remember is teams are daring you to shoot the basketball, so they're not going to let you go into the paint. So he really should not have the ball in his hands that much, which is why I said that Milwaukee needs to really get a playmaker. That way, Giannis can focus on defense. He can focus on his post-ups, which is something that he should work on. And like I said, have a medium-range jump shot. He doesn't necessarily need to have the three. As long as Milwaukee's got the shooters, Giannis having a mid-range game is fine. I just think he needs to do mid-range post-up and stay in the paint. And then on top of that, improve his free throw shooting. Because that's another issue that they're going to have. If he continues to get fouled and can't hit free throws in close games, because what Giannis basically tells me is he can play from ahead but not from behind. And he is going to have to be able to do that once he's dealing with that kind of adversity. It's Austin says, do you think Charlotte should go for Russell Westbrook? Okay, here's what I'm going to say about that. Michael Jordan loves Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook is with the Jordan brand, but let's be really honest. Jordan needs to be very smart with the pick he's got there. He should not be trying to take a chance to take on Russell Westbrook. Maybe Russell Westbrook helps you to get into the playoffs because you are in the Eastern Conference and you're with the Charlotte Hornets, but they don't really have much. You know, they do have Devontae Graham, and I like him a lot, but they don't really have much on their team. Nicholas Batum makes a good amount of money, and he's been very inconsistent. I thought that he was going to be able to do more because he was a talented player coming out of when they got him from Portland, but even then, so he was inconsistent over there, and he's never really put it together, since he came to Charlotte. So they don't really have much, honestly. And Russell Westbrook, like I said, he'll get butts in seats, but it's not going to really do anything in terms of their long-term plans in the future. And Russ makes a lot of money. And let's face it, Charlotte is not a big market. How long is Jordan going to hold Russ before he's going to have to get rid of him? And I think at that point, Russ's value stock might drop if Russell doesn't play well and produce big numbers. And Russ, like I said, he could put up gaudy stats, but the last couple of seasons, he's kind of slowed down a bit, even though last year he did a really good job adjusting his game and played really well. But again, Russell Westbrook you worry about him more so in the playoffs than you do in the regular season. It's really more so the playoffs. Can he play at the level in the playoffs to where he's reliable and he holds value? And to be honest with you, the answer is just a flat out no. So if I'm Michael Jordan, as much as he loves Russ, I'd stay away from him. I'd keep that pick and be smart with your pick. Don't do something that you're going to regret, because then Michael Jordan would get exposed even more as already being the worst owner in the NBA, in my personal opinion, other than James Dolan. But
and Glenn Taylor too for the Timberwolves, yeah.
Another one. Okay, Kemba Walker or D'Angelo Russell? I am going with – that's a tough one. D'Angelo Russell, I think, is the more explosive scorer, especially when he gets streaky hot. The thing is, it depends on what you like. If you're looking for scoring, you're going with D'Angelo because of his ability to shoot the three at a very high clip. And he can shoot a high percentage too on volume. But if you're looking for fit, you're going with Kemba Walker. That's the best way I can say that answer. If you're looking for fit, you go with Kemba. You need scoring out of that point guard position consistently, you go with D'Angelo Russell. That's how I say it. Losing Goran would be a big blow for Miami. If so, they need a younger, better replacement. Yeah, Goran is getting up there. Need an athletic, versatile big. Butler will come back down to earth offensively eventually. Yeah, I think so. Jimmy Butler, I don't think can sustain that level of offensive output, in my opinion. I just think that was probably the best he did in those NBA Finals. And kudos to him, but I just don't know if he's going to be able to sustain that.
I think Dennis Schroeder would have been nice for Miami to replace.
Yeah, I think he would
slowly replace Goran. That would be a good.
Exactly. And Dennis Schroeder, like I said, could create his own shot, could hit the mid-range shot, could pan you to the rim, could hit the three ball, and will take pressure off Jimmy Butler so he doesn't handle the ball a lot, so he doesn't be tired. You know what I mean? What killed the Heat in the NBA Finals is that they didn't have another ball handler when Dragic and you can even say Bam were hurt,
Yeah, all right. Buddha said, okay, Chris says, which NBA player will get traded tomorrow on draft night? The one guy that I continue to think about, and if the Warriors do draft him, is going to be James Wiseman. But to me, that will depend on if they decide to keep him, and I think they should. But if there's something available for the Warriors to snag a big time player, they will use that pick to trade him. He might be the guy. I say I doubt it, but I think that probably might be the guy, and it might be any of those guys that probably might be in the picks from anywhere from like 10 to 20, anywhere from like 10 to 30. I feel like those other players that are going to be drafted, I feel like there probably will be a swap of trades that'll happen on draft night. By the way, guys, draft night is tomorrow, and it's going to be held virtually. So it was supposed to be in Brooklyn this year, but obviously due to COVID reasons, it's not going to happen. So it'll be held virtually. Probably on, obviously on all the social networks and on NBA TV and stuff. So let us continue. Okay, Buddha says Schroeder will probably start on the Lakers. I think for now he probably might come off the bench and then eventually start. I think that all depends on Kyle Kuzma though.
That's who's to be fixed him. Who knows? I be Kuzma, man.
I didn't hear you. What'd you say?
The Knicks might Kuz. I've been hearing trade rumors.
That we might trade for Kyle Kuzma?
Yeah, that's what I heard. I heard that New York and LA are talking about like a Kuz trade. That's what I heard though.
I wonder. Well, I hope they don't give up RJ Barrett because that would be one guy I would not touch if they're trying to get. I want to build with RJ Barrett. I don't think he to me should be. He should be touched in terms of that case because he'll actually be around veterans. Obviously with LeBron and them. Karan says Schroeder got robbed. I think Schroeder
did get robbed.
Okay. Yeah, okay. The Pacers could low-key be cold if they picked up Gordon Hayward. I said that he would be, like I said, Wisa mentioned it that Gordon going back to Indiana possibly would be good.
Wait, hold on. I just thought about something, though. What would they do with TJ Warren? Would they slide him to the 2 and slide VL to the 1? Like, what would they do with TJ? Or slide him to the 4?
That's a good question. Because Gordon plays both positions, and so does T.J. Warren. So I'm wondering what they would do with that. But I doubt they put him at the 1 though. And also,
same. T.J. is more of a 2 or a 3. He's not really a point guard. He's more of a.
No. I said VO. I said VO.
Oh, okay. What Indiana needs, man, Indiana needs another shot creator, and Indiana needs another stretch big to help out Miles Turner, okay? They need also a bench. Sabonis? Yes, Sabonis. If they had DeMontis Sabonis, that would have helped, though. But what Indiana needs is a bench. They don't really have a consistent bench. You saw in the playoffs against Miami, they didn't have any, shot creators off the bench,
And okay, gotcha. Okay, so all right. So Chris says I'm a Heat fan. Well, salute to you, Chris, for being a Heat fan. Who should trade for Victor Oladipo? What do you guys think that Victor Oladipo should take a chance on Victor Oladipo? But I look at Victor Oladipo as a guy who you trade, not trade for. That's just me. But what do you guys think with Victor Oladipo? Where would you think he would fit if a team was to possibly get a trade for him?
I would like a Toronto Raptors, to be honest with you. I think Toronto would need Oladipo because that's another go-to guy to help out Kyle Lowry. What killed Toronto against Boston, Spicy P was supposed to be that dude, but he just wasn't consistent. And Fred VanVleet, he just was very up and down in that series compared to where he was in the 2019 playoffs when he balled out. So I'm saying that, look, we don't know if VanVleet's coming back, okay? So if they lose VanVleet, I think Oladipo could help out Kyle Lowry, and you could put him at the 2. You know what I mean? And I just think that Oladipo's another guy who could create his own shot, very athletic, and can hit the 3 ball to help out Kyle Lowry, because Kyle Lowry is getting up in age at this point.
I think he'd be good on like the Pelicans or like I was thinking like the Orlando, like back to the Orlando Magic. That's where like I could just see Victor Oladipo at, where the Magic need a guard desperately. So that's where I could see him at.
Okay. GA without a mid-range three-point game doesn't allow another to bring the ball up. Where the Bucks have the same offensive consistency, others will get open looks when they do. And he says, "You don't trade for Oladipo, you trade him." All right, Khalil says the Heat have a nice squad, but let's be really honest. Being in that bubble was like turning up all the role player stats in 2K. They won't get back to the finals with that roster construction, and that's why I was saying that's what it felt like in the bubble with the Miami Heat. Like I said, much respect to them, but I don't think they will get back to the finals with that kind of roster construction under regular circumstances. You look at some of these teams, man, the way that they played, it's like
TJ
this
Warren.
was normal.
God.
Yeah, like some of these guys that went nuts that you really don't hear about like in the regular season like that. Like they just went to another level in the bubble. And like I said, if there's fans, regular 82 game schedule, I don't know if that's going to be the case. So it's kind of true, man. Like I said, kudos to the Heat for getting to the finals and all that, but I just don't know if they play like this in a regular 82 game schedule. So I'm sorry, I just don't see it. And much respect to the Heat, by the way. Chris Anderson says, "I really want Kevin Love to get traded." I mean,
I said Phoenix was a good place, but I don't know about
Phoenix
that now.
or hell, even Utah would have, or Utah, because Utah they need a forward, man. They need a forward. Kevin Love would have helped in Utah, in my opinion.
you know what? I think Utah could use a Kevin Love, honestly, because they don't really have a stretch forward. They really don't.
Nope.
Talking about Kevin Love for Utah, he actually would be good for that team in terms of helping them stretch the floor because they don't really have a power forward like that. Z Smooth says, "Do you think Rondo is going to the Clippers?" The Clippers are in the sweepstakes for Rajon Rondo, and they can offer him probably money that he probably would take going to the Clippers. That'd be crazy if he does go to the Clippers because I'm like, the crazy part about Rondo is he won a championship with Boston, and then he won a championship with the Lakers, the two historic franchises in the NBA. And then he goes to, and then on top of that, then he goes to the little brother of LA, the Clippers. I would say that Rajon has probably had one of the more interesting careers in NBA history.
Not only did he win championships for the Lakers and the Celtics, it was both the 17th championship as well, which is
pretty
crazy, huh?
Right.
Yeah.
So Jay says Rondo is probably staying in LA if the money is there because that's what Rondo wants. He wants more money. Looks like the Clippers are the team to beat for out of services. The Clippers can offer it. Shout out to It's Awesome, man. Y'all think Charlotte is going after or should go after Montrezl Harrell? So let me say this quick before the guys on the panel answer. Montrezl Harrell is another guy that Doc Rivers put in way over his head. He should have been defending and rebounding, and instead tried to make him into this 18 points per game scorer when he's very limited offensively. When you watch Montrezl Harrell play. Yeah, he averaged 18 points, but how did he get his 18 points? Pick and roll, and when he went one-on-one against bigs that did not have the quickness to guard him on the baseline or when he drives to the middle. If y'all watched against the Dallas Mavericks in the playoffs, when he went up against Porzingis, he could not get around him. And that's because not only is Porzingis big, but Porzingis moves pretty well laterally. And you put a lateral big against Montrezl Harrell isn't going to do much for you. So if he's not scoring those 18 points, he gets that energy and hustle and that height, especially when he plays with Lou Will. But you take away his ability to get to the rim, he's not really much use for you. So I would stay away. Well, maybe I get him if he's playing his role in terms of not trying to score 18 a game, but you can still have him do pick and roll and stuff, but he needs to be the energy guy that he is. And maybe I work on his mid-range a little bit because he can't even hit that consistently. But I would do that and have him focus on defending and rebounding because his defense was terrible in the bubble. And I know part of it had to do with his grandmother passing away and he wasn't focused, but flat out his defense was pretty terrible. You know, what you guys think? You think the Charlotte Hornets should go after Montrezl Harrell or the Clippers need to keep him?
Depends on the price.
If you're Charlotte, that'll be an okay move because they need another energy player. But like you said, Lewis, Harrell relies more on pick and roll offense because he cannot stretch the floor. You know what I mean? And here's the thing: what helped them against Golden State in 2019 is that Golden State didn't have a lateral big that can stop them in the paint. You know what I mean? The thing with Harrell is that Harrell just did not look the same in the playoffs and looked kind of slow. He looked out of it, and I felt that him getting a confrontation with Luka, also not finishing at the rim, missing free throws. That really was a detriment to LA. So I guess Harold could do something in Charlotte, I guess, but is it going to get into the playoffs? I don't know.
Right. I mean, even though it is the Eastern Conference, I agree with you, G Money. I don't know if that move just automatically puts him into the postseason. So you have a good point. All right. Khalil says Elton Brand is the worst GM, and you can say that again. He overpaid Al Horford and Tobias Harris for no reason. They don't even fit with the team. Well, listen, I agree with that. Tobias Harris is way too inconsistent, honestly, and Al Horford did not fit with that team at all, especially with Embiid. I just thought it was a bad mix from the beginning. I could just see that wasn't going to work. They tried to make him just a completely stretch four, and like I said, Al Horford, good player. I just don't think he's even an all-star level player in today's NBA, and that's with all due respect in the world of Al Horford because he does play hard. But that's just my personal opinion. I just thought that they just were bad fits with. So I agree with Khalil on that one, man. Elton Brand, I don't know what he's doing over there. He's just as bad as that Sixers organization. That trusted process BS has really gotten them nowhere. So
tell me about it.
Harold probably is going for his best payday. Yeah, Harold wants money. The Nuggets and Clippers haven't had any moves yet. I'm surprised. Well, part of it is because some of these other teams have been a little more aggressive. And I think in terms of the Nuggets, they have more possessions in terms of they have probably more players to lose in terms of if they try to get another player. If you look at a Drew Holiday, I don't know if teams are going to want to take a Gary Harris, even though he does bring some value, but he was inconsistent and he did come off an injury. So I think that's what kind of hurts them a little bit in terms of trying to acquire. And now they just lost a chance to get Drew Holiday. And then also they might lose Jeremy Grant, so they got to be careful with losing him because then that hurts. They do have to develop Michael Porter Jr. because he is the future for that team. No question. But the thing is, I just wonder what moves can the Nuggets really make. That's the thing. The Clippers' best bet is for now just to sign Rajon Rondo, and they're gonna have to see if they can get Steven Adams, maybe a Serge Ibaka as well because he's also out there. People forget that as well. And Serge is looking to get paid as well. So and he would be a big piece to add. If somebody's able to get him. Horford, no. Tobias is needed for now. Simmons isn't spreading the floor. Yep, because Simmons can't shoot. Oh, hey, shout out to Chavez 2K, man. Appreciate you. He says, do you think the Timberwolves should trade their first overall pick? Your guys.
Get Anthony Edwards.
Probably, I agree. I mean, the Wolves, they just need another point guard to help out D'Angelo Russell at this point. So, yeah. I mean, shooting guard. You know what I'm saying? Like a combo guard, maybe?
Yeah, they just need a guard in general.
Yeah, a combo guard. Point guard and a shooting guard, yeah.
Right. Yeah. All right, T-Wolves need to make a hit with that pick because people don't openly go to Minnesota. Minnesota's not an attractable destination, honestly, man. Mm-hmm. So it's just pretty much that. Shout out to Tyree. Appreciate you coming through. Jay says, I would trade Horford for Kevin Love. At least Love isn't gunshot. That's actually not a bad trade. I actually would go for that.
Trade. That's the decent trade.
That's a good trade because K Love can stretch that floor, and he can put the ball on the floor, and he can score in the post. That would help out Joel Embiid, yeah.
And he can rebound as good as Al Horford.
Exactly.
He's a much better rebounder. He's a much better rebounder than Al Horford, and also he can ignite the break. The fast break. Mm-hmm. So that's another thing that I was actually also
Tom Brady out the break.
Right. With his QB arm, right? But if I'm Philly, I'd be making a call to the Cavaliers to see what they could do to trade Horford for Love. I don't know if the Cavs are going to take him, but if they could get Kevin Love, I mean, that's a step at least in somewhat of the right direction. But I'm wondering how him and Embiid would work out at least a little bit, but there are some things that Kevin Love can do that he won't actually get in the way of Embiid. Maybe he might.
But I want to ask you a quick question. I remember there was a question that said that did Miami need like a big man like a Willie Cauley-Stein? I mean, I don't know. I don't think Cauley-Stein would fit that much in Miami. Do you think Kevin Love will help Miami though? Because he can stretch that floor and can take the pressure out of Bio.
They got Kelly Olynyk, so he'd be like Kelly Olynyk.
Yeah, but here's the thing: Olynyk cannot rebound like Love, though, and he's not as
That's
good.
true.
And Kevin Love is a way better passer, though, and a
Yeah.
way better low post scorer. If I were what killed Miami is that Kelly Olynyk, he was kind of up and down in the finals at times. If you have a Kevin Love in that moment, he can make the Lakers pay from downtown, and he can create his own shot, and also he can, kill the Laker bigs down low.
I mean, I can see that, but I think I'm actually in agreement with G Money. I think he would be a more better upgrade than Kelly Olynyk, even though they have him. Because the reason being is because I think that key thing is that he helps on the boards too. With Bam Adebayo, and he won't get in Bam's way because he can stretch the floor. Where Bam could be in the mid, and Bam is in the mid range, Kevin Love could be in the post. When Bam is in the post, Kevin Love could stretch the floor and be at the 3-point line. So they won't get in the way of each other. And again, Kevin Love also that moniker of being able to, ignite the fast break. So I think that would be something there too. Montrezl should just focus on rebounding and defense and not too many extra stuff like Draymond, who tried to score on threes. But Draymond got those on open looks though, because his threes are predicated off of Steph and Clay. So he's not bad. Montrezl though tries to do too much with the way he plays. Yeah, the Nuggets could sit and wait. I would agree with that. I got you, Jay. Got you. I see the Nets trading with the Timberwolves for their number 1 pick and bringing LaMelo to New York. I don't want to see LaMelo ball in New York because I don't want to hear LeVar talk. With all due respect to LeVar Ball. Okay, he says, can't wait till y'all brothers talk about the Brooklyn Nets and if they acquire James Harden. Oh, we're gonna get to that. But there's another topic I wanted to talk about before that. Check this out, guys. So from what I'm hearing, the Knicks have 2 first-round picks. I can see them trading them to move up to a number 1 and get LaMelo. That's possible too. Right. So, okay. Shout out to Raduni's credit. All right, no problem. Russell Westbrook could be in possible trade talks with the Washington Wizards to trade for John Wall. And the way I saw that is, I'm looking at that as once again a Russell Westbrook for a Chris Paul trade. And that's how I feel. And then again, Russell Westbrook will be reunited with Scotty Brooks. And I said, Scotty Brooks is going to let Russ do what he wants, which is what he did in OKC. And so do you think that makes sense? Because then do you think Bradley Beal is going to want to play with Russ or is he going to want to ask for a trade? Because he made it clear that he wants to play with John Wall. I wanted to know what your guys' thoughts on that.
I look at both trades. If you're Houston, why would you trade for a point guard that has an Achilles? I don't understand that, and it doesn't make any sense. And if you're Washington, look, if Scott Brooks could have make the right adjustments if they get Westbrook, because again, Russell Westbrook, I understand he balled out with Scott Brooks, but you can argue that Russell Westbrook became even a better player under Billy Donovan. So I'm saying is that if the Wiz gets Russ, is Russ going to fit under Scott Brooks' system in DC? And here's the thing: would Bradley Beal get the ball in more? That's the thing I question, though. It's like, and what the Wiz need is that they just need a bench. Washington doesn't have a bench right now. You know what I mean? So I don't know how this is going to work. If you're Houston, I'm not making this trade. Why? Listen, John Wall is a nice player. He's athletic. He can hit the mid range, and he can dish the rock. But here's the thing: the dude has an Achilles, so it's like I don't think this trade makes sense really for Houston at all. I really don't.
What do you think on it, Weiss?
It's a stupid trade. I don't understand the concept of it. I mean, my thing is, if you trade for John Wall, yeah, you can kind of do like a Chris Paul and James Harden type of thing, but Russell Westbrook, you Bradley Beal, like he's not going to want to play with Westbrook because you're taking the ball out of Bradley Beal's hands. He went from, I'm saying he went from scoring 30 points per game without having to share the rock with a ball dominant point guard like Russ. And I mean, what type of winning move is that for Washington?
It's not. And again, Scott Brooks is on the hot seat, all right? Scott Brooks, he's on the hot seat. If Washington is garbage this season, he might be gone.
I mean, he ain't got much to work with though.
I mean, I understand that, but there's no more excuses. You're in the mediocre East, so there's no more excuses for Scott Brooks.
Yeah, that's true.
Right. And to be honest with you, man, I think that it's crazy to me that they would even make that trade because, like I said, I feel like you're trading a max player with money who's coming off of injuries for another player who has 2 injuries and hasn't played basketball in 2 years who makes max money too. It just doesn't make any sense. I don't know what these NBA teams thinking because we just
they're just thinking about the trade because they got similar contracts. So they're like, hey, maybe a refresh would be it's the thing we're missing. That's so stupid.
Yeah, it just doesn't make any sense, right?
It doesn't make sense.
Tyrese, like John Wall and Russell, are kind of the same player. Damn, he went Westbrook. I mean,
they are the same player.
Okay, should the Cavaliers trade for Russell Westbrook? I mean, they could. They could.
What you gonna give him, Colin Sexton and Darius Garland?
I don't know. Yeah, Darius Garland, Colin Sexton. I don't know. It just doesn't make any sense, honestly.
Stupid.
It's really stupid. They just
there's no trade for Westbrook out there at all.
That's the crazy part, man. That's every time I keep looking at trade scenarios, there's not much for him. And the thing is, people know how much Russell is ball dominant, and also it's like people are starting to really see that. That's the thing. And the Wizards' problem is the front office. Yeah, the front office has been pretty bad.
Watch the front office is garbage.
Karam, I'm gonna tell you right now, it's not just the fact that the Wizards have a bad front office, but Scott Brooks is not a good coach. Okay, you look at OKC. You look at OKC. They play playground basketball, and Scott Brooks allowed that. He never really structured the offense in OKC. That's the reason why that they didn't go to the NBA Finals after that one time that they did. They were talented, but they did not get it done because Scott Brooks, he relies on the starters. They play many minutes. He just lets them pretty much do what they want. That's the reason why Scott Brooks has not won. So I'm honestly, and this is no disrespect to Scott Brooks. You know, he has been able to succeed in this league. He has won. He was part of the groundwork from the ground up with KD and Russ and Harden. I thought Jeff Green was a mistake that they never should have traded, in my opinion. But it is what it is. But like I said, man, I'm not a big fan of Scott Brooks and his coaching style. So that's why I said that. So G Money's right. He kind of really is on the hot seat. Washington, to me, would be stupid to just kind of keep him at this point, honestly. That team has underachieved so badly, man. So badly.
Every year. This team should have been in the conference final like twice under Wall and Beal, man. They should have made 2 conference finals in 15 and 17.
Right. Okay. And just quick shout out to Tyree, man. Appreciate you with the $19.99 donation. I truly appreciate that, Tyree. Much love and respect to you, my brother. Appreciate it, Tyree. I appreciate that. Whatchamacallit? Jay says Westbrook is better than John Wall, but neither of them can shoot. They're just about the same player in a sense, but I can see where Jay's coming from in terms of Westbrook is better than John Wall. I could see that in a way. Especially because Russ has been the best player in the league. They have been multiple-time All-Stars, but Russ has been able to do more in my opinion, than John Wall. But it is kind of debatable in a sense as well. All right, man. Shout out to Michelle's daughter. Appreciate you. Hope everything is well with you. Buddha says KD and Russ have had 2 rings together. Possible. Like I said, I feel like the system, though, shout out to Raduni. He says the Nets want to win now and on the future, so they don't have a time to develop youth because KD is over 30. That's a very good point, Raduni. That's a very good point. KD's in his early 30s, so they need to win now because you don't know how much longer KD's going to be able to play. His game tells you a long time, but like Jay has been saying constantly, it's going to depend on his health. I don't know if he's going to be the same. Good, but I don't know how well. Westbrook needs to see if he can get traded to the Spurs. Russ needs an alpha coach. Oh, I agree. He's needed that. He's never had that his entire career. Never. Westbrook's intangibles. Wall would be worse than Westbrook in the West. No debate. Yeah, I think Russ has better intangibles than John Wall. I agree with that. Westbrook would benefit from a Popovich. He needs an alpha. bro. He needs somebody that's going to tell him, no, this ain't how you're going to do things. It's true. Shout out to Khalil again. He says Miami would be a good fit for Russell. Oh, that's another team that I didn't think about. Pat Riley. Pat Riley.
I always go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Okay. I always said Miami would fit under Russ. They would, because Russ is tough. So is Jimmy Butler. And Russ and Butler, I think, work well together, man. And I think that what killed Miami last year, they needed a point guard that was tough. That was the thing. They needed a point guard that was tough and was not scared to fail. That's what could have helped them against LA last year. Westbrook would fit under Coach Spo's system, because Coach Spo, he's pretty tough, and Coach Spo knows how to develop talent, you know?
Oh yeah, absolutely, no doubt. And you know, that I think Miami and San Antonio would probably be the two teams that probably Russell Westbrook would go to, because they have the culture to keep himself in line and really learn how to use his teammates and stop dominating the ball so much. He would really learn the team game. As talented as Russ is, man, because he's so talented. That's the crazy part, man. You know, I need to get into this last topic as well, man. It's crazy, but I gotta. I feel like KD just loves taking the easy and the quick way out. He kind of just likes microwaving his stuff rather than putting it in the oven and waiting it out. That's an interesting way to put it, Buddha. That's a really interesting way to put it. Okay, shout out to Mike Aldridge, man. What's good with you, bro? On the horrors tip, a lot of people see him going to Portland, giving them a starting five of Nurkic, Horford, Covington, McCollum, and Lillard. Could you guys see that lineup? Actually, I could. I really could see that lineup. I don't know how well they would go in the West. Covington was a very good pickup, though, I will say, for Portland. They needed a wing. They needed a tall wing too. Covington gives them size at 6'7". He gives them the ability to stretch the floor, and he can defend. So they needed a 3-and-D, and they got that in Covington. They do need Zach Collins to be healthy. Trevor Ariza to come back. You know, I don't think he's playing the level of defense he once did, but still a solid defender.
No, Ariza's going. He got traded to Houston.
Say it again.
Ariza got traded to Houston for Covington.
Oh, he got traded to Houston for Covington. Oh, okay. Oh, wow. So that well, at least with Covington, you do get a younger player. So you know, I mean, it's fine. They do get younger in that part. So that it's solid, man. Okay. Would you trade D'Angelo Russell for Russell Westbrook?
Hell no.
No, hell to the nah. Hell to the nah. No way, man. Like, no, D'Lo can stretch that floor and can help Karl Anthony Towns. Okay, I mean, look what D'Lo did to Brooklyn. When the Nets were 8-18, he got
no explanation is even needed for the trade. There's no explanation for that. None at all. That's a stupid.
No
trade.
way, man. No way. If you're Minnesota, don't even think about trading D'Lo. And besides, D'Lo and Cat would fit together. You know.
Right. All right, man. Hope everybody's doing good. Okay, Ryan's got a question. He says, Lewis, do you agree with Gilbert saying he was James Harden before James Harden? Oh, I agree with that wholeheartedly. I think Gilbert was the original James Harden, to be honest with you. He capped for James Harden when James Harden was in OKC. I forgot who he told. There was some report. I forgot who he was talking to. It was some interview he had, and he said that he felt that James Harden was the second best player on the OKC Thunder. He didn't even say that's how much he thought about Russell Westbrook. And that was when the big three were all together. This was back in 2012. Gilbert said that James Harden was the second best player on the OKC Thunder. And he said Durant was the best player, but he said that James Harden was the second best player. But I think he said that also because James Harden reminds him a lot of him. And I think that he was the original James Harden. If you really watch the way Gilbert Arenas played and James Harden played, they're similar. They're very similar. People have said that Gilbert was the original, arguably the original James Harden. They said that. What do you guys think? You think Gilbert was the OG James Harden, or people kind of talking crazy about that?
I don't know if he was James Harden, because James Harden does a lot of ISO, step back three, and drive it to the rim. Agent Zero didn't do a lot of step back threes. I don't think he was James Harden because he can utilize that mid range. James Harden doesn't utilize the mid range. So I don't think he was more of the beard. I think Agent Zero was more of a, guy who can create his own shot, more of a guy who can penetrate to the rim. And here's the thing: Agent Zero didn't rely on just going to the, he didn't rely on the referees as much as the beard does, So I don't think it was a James Harden. I don't think so.
Okay. Let me just go back real quick. Okay. Shout out to Adam Henriksen. He says Celtics, Steven. Okay. Yep. This is Sean. All right. We says that he'll be right back. All right. No problem. All right. So we're going to continue. Do you think the Lakers would trade Kyle Kuzma? I think if they can find a suitable partner, I think they will trade Kuzma. They traded Danny Green, so I think that would happen. But I don't. I think if they can't find anybody, I think Kuzma will stay, and I think he'll be in the starting lineup. What you think about that, G-Money?
Well, they trade Kuzma. I think at this point they might have to. I don't think Kuzma fits too much.
I tell people all the time, like, man, Gilbert Arenas is saying.
Go ahead, G-Money.
Oh, I think the Lakers may. I don't think Kuzma fits with the Lakers as much anymore because the whole trade rumors thing. I think Kuzma would fit in New York. I think he would fit under Tom Thibodeau's system. I think he would.
Interesting. So Kuzma to the Knicks, because like you were saying that Kuzma, there are trade rumors that the Lakers are trying to make a deal with the Knicks to try to acquire Kuz. I'm just not okay if they decide to try to trade RJ Barrett because I think that the Knicks can still build with him. I was high on Kevin Knox, but right now I'm not even sure, where his game and where he fits with the Knicks currently. And I like the kid a lot when we drafted him. I thought he was a good pick at the time, but I don't know. Raduni says Westbrook is on his 30s. If he wasn't able to learn the game, so that means he's not going to learn how to play games now. He is done, in my opinion. He is just there chasing stats. It's interesting because, Russ has, I've said it many times, man. Russ has been in the league. He's entering his 13th season, and he still has yet to really learn how to play team basketball and mentally really take that next step to really learn how to play championship level basketball. But he hasn't done it, man. So it's unfortunate, but, Russ kind of dug his own grave. And that's part of the reason he's never had an alpha male coach to really help mold his game. So if I'm the Timberwolves, I'm trading Karl Anthony Towns. They are trying to trade him, believe it or not. I wonder who's going to take the chance to grab Karl Anthony Towns, but they are trying to trade him. Which means if they do that, that means D'Lo's move to reunite with Karl Anthony Towns would have been for nothing. So then does D'Angelo Russell then ask for a trade? So that's interesting. Right, man. So let me just go. Yeah, Covington does need to find some consistency in his threes. That's for sure.
I agree. He's up downtown. He's up and down. Yeah.
All right, I see you, man. I see that you're back. Good seeing everybody, man. Good seeing everybody in the chat, man. No doubt. All right, man. So, all right, man. We got to get on this last topic, guys. And actually, no, it's probably two, man. And shout out to Butter Trey, man. He says, "Go Celtics." Oh, Jay, I sent you the email, bro. You got to check your email. I already sent the email for you to get on the panel. You got to check your email. So James Harden, man. James Harden. Because I know Khalil was ready for us to be talking about this, man. And the thing is, this is actually going to connect to Giannis Antetokounmpo, and it's going to connect to Kevin Durant. So James Harden turned down a 2-year, $103 million extension, which was the largest contract extension in NBA history, which means James Harden would be getting close to $51 million per season for those 2 years. So he wanted to get traded. And Brooklyn is almost getting a done deal to get James Harden to play for the Brooklyn Nets. I'm interested to see who Brooklyn is going to give up. And I got to ask y'all, man. And from what I'm hearing, Kevin Durant was in talks to get James Harden to come to Brooklyn. So what's your thoughts on KD, number one, recruiting James Harden, and then what's your thoughts on possibly the Brooklyn Nets getting this done deal to get James Harden in the trade from Houston?
If you're Kevin Durant, people killed you for building a super team in Golden State. Why you want to build another one? I don't understand that. Like, think about this. If Harden goes to Brooklyn, right, and they win the championship, does his dude are people gonna really respect his championship? Because it's like you're stacking the deck. If I were Kevin Durant, I don't think we need James Harden because I, it just doesn't make any sense because Harden is ball dominant like Kyrie and KD. So I don't think Kevin Durant should want James Harden. I really don't understand that. He's stacking the deck to this point.
What you think, Weiss?
It doesn't look good for KD when things like this come up for him. KD is my favorite player, but I don't even think you need James Harden to win in Brooklyn. I thought the better trade was for Drew Holiday. Y'all should have been pushing to get him instead of James Harden. If I'm like Karis LeVert and Spencer Dinwiddie, I'm like, do I even want to, where do I stand in the locker room? It's so many deeper problems with it than just James Harden coming to the team and they're trying to create a super team. It's not good to do it in the public eye like this.
Exactly. And nobody wants to go into the season knowing what team's going to win. We don't want to keep seeing super teams form. We want to see a balanced league like last season,
Yeah.
No, definitely, man. Yo, shout out to Jay Jeff, man. What's going on, bro? What you got on this, man, with possibly the Brooklyn Nets, man, getting this deal done to get James Harden to come in that trade for Houston? And then what does that make KD look like? Because he was trying to recruit him to come to the team. And then I want to get everybody's thoughts on there's rumors saying that Kyrie is not okay and he's not a fan of James Harden coming to the Brooklyn Nets, man. So what's your thoughts on that, Jay?
All right, what's up to everybody in the chat, man? Salute.
What up?
Hey, my thoughts on the situation with James Harden. First of all, I don't even know why this is even a discussion. They don't need James Harden.
They don't.
They just fine with Kyrie and Durant. They got the young guys over there, develop the young talent. That's what I would do if I was a GM or the head coach. I would develop the young talent because they got some young pieces there. All right, James Harden, all he is a cancer for your team. He will never lead you to a championship. He's just not the guy, man. So I don't even know why this discussion is even going around right now.
Yeah, what's good, Sean, man? What you got on this, bro?
Man, KD is officially not in the top 5 convo like LeBron, in my opinion. You know what I mean? If you're on that super team, I'm sorry, I have to take you out. I'm not going to put you in top 5. No matter how good your accomplishment is, I'm not putting you in top 5 because you did not really like get through the adversity, the competition. So yeah, that's just why.
Here's my issue real quick before I get onto the Kyrie situation, and then I gotta ask a question about Giannis Antetokounmpo. Here's the thing: what I don't like from Kevin Durant is you got criticized for the move that you did to Golden State, and again, he has the right as a free agent to go where he wants. The media criticized you for it when you called out the LeBron boys in the toxic media, according to them and you, because you became public enemy number 1 for them. Then they kept trying to cause you to have a rift with Steph Curry. They tried to make you to have a rift with Draymond Green. They tried to make you have a rift with Steve Kerr, right? You leave that organization, and then you're saying that you want to make your own mark as a leader because you're trying to prove that you could win without those guys, that you didn't have to help stack the gap to win championships. But now you're recruiting James Harden. If you're doing that, basically what you're saying is you're really copying what LeBron started and you're continuing that. That's what that's telling me. If you're saying that you're a competitor, try to get it done without trying to get James Harden to come to the Eastern Conference. And adding James to your team, you're really hurting the chemistry on that team, especially if I'm hearing that Kyrie Irving doesn't want to play, because now what happens? Because they're saying that, well, according to Steve Nash, he said that Kevin Durant is going to play all 5 positions. But what that also tells me is if you bring James Harden, Kevin Durant is probably going to start at power forward and pretty much he's going to take a bulk of the scoring. Because here's the thing, James Harden should not be trying to make plays and trying to play make. He should not be trying to take step back threes because my thing is also you were just with Mike D'Antoni and now that didn't work out. And he may be the assistant coach, but it's like you're back with Mike D'Antoni again. So I'm just thinking,
James Harden, he really don't even have an offensive repertoire, man. Like he's overrated, man. He has no offensive game like that. Just a step back. That's it, man. All he has is a step back three. And that ugly ass floater he be doing.
He can draw fouls, man. That's good.
That's fuck out of here. Fuck out of here with Harden, man. I'll give a fuck about that bum.
He's the best.
Harden. My thing is, guys in the chat are saying it right now, man. Look, if I'm Brooklyn, shout out to Mike Aldridge, man. If I'm Brooklyn, I don't even consider even trying to move Caris LeVert or Jared Allen. On top of that, why would I entertain to do James Harden when Kyrie already threw that team under the bus last year? And
throw Harden to your New York Knicks, Lou.
Yeah, nah, man. Listen. As much as we need a star, I don't need that locker room cancer coming to that team. I'm sorry, man. We trying to change culture, man. Obviously we need culture. Harden's not gonna bring that. He's a guy that's gonna put up good stuff in the regular season, but I'm sorry, man. I need guys that are gonna be able to not only compete in the regular season, I need it in the playoffs too, man. I can't have it just one season, man, because the NBA is 2 seasons, which is regular season and then the postseason, and I need that. I'm sorry, I can't do that. I would not even try to move Caris LeVert, Spencer Dinwiddie, or Jared Allen. Spencer Dinwiddie got excited when Steve Nash came onto the team, so why am I going to ruin that? And you still have Jamal Crawford. When healthy, Jamal Crawford can still play, and he can
still put buckets in. Hell yeah.
I'm sorry, Kevin Durant is trying to copy what LeBron James is doing, and it's not going to be a good look because you're saying that you want to prove that you could win, but you're out here recruiting players. That means that you're recruiting another MVP to your team. That's not going to look good on your part. James Harden just won the MVP a couple of seasons ago. You won with Steph Curry and won 2 rings in Golden State. You're trying to win as the guy, but you're out here trying to get a 3rd star in the Eastern Conference. It's getting better, but it's still winnable. So don't tell me that, man.
Well, like Zeke said, like Isaiah Thomas said, you have a bus driver and you have a bus rider. We already know what Durant is, so we don't got to discuss about him anymore.
And as great as Durant is to me, like I said, he's not a guy listen, Durant is an unbelievable scorer. Durant is a superstar, but he's not your leader. And that's what he's trying to prove this season so that he could get rid of the naysayers and say that he could lead a team to an NBA championship. But like Jay just said KD is a bus. He's a bus rider, not a driver. There's a difference. He rides the bus. He doesn't drive. So I'm sorry because, and like I said, man, because then if we're doing this, then that just makes it sound like if you're just basically desperate for more titles, stacking the deck, and already, the East is kind of looking at kind of itself in a little bit, the East is getting a little bit stronger too. And I get it, but your team has enough talent to come out.
He's gotten better. I'm gonna admit that they proved me wrong last season. Miami being like a top seed, like a top 5, like a 5th seed, middle of the road, going to the finals, actually impressive.
No, yeah. And so Khalil says when LeBron went to Miami, he was trying to beat the other super teams like the Spurs and the Celtics, not to join the team that beat them. LeBron also didn't play with MVPs like Harden and Curry. But here's the thing that I got to say about LeBron.
We're not giving LeBron no pass.
We're not giving LeBron a pass. Fuck that.
No, D-Wade was a Finals MVP. I don't want to hear that.
Fuck that. He doesn't get a pass.
We're the most balanced team in the NBA. I don't understand why y'all still playing that super team like that super team smug.
Spurs wasn't even a super team like that. They wasn't even a super team.
They were extremely
they were getting old.
The right players.
This sounds like excuses.
They don't care who has the best stats. They care about his balance and how much you guys are going to win that team win that game as efficiently as possible. Like it's not like okay, LeBron lost against them during his prime. All right, I get
Spurs
it.
never had a super team. What
They
is they
still
talking
put
about?
him over when he's old.
Hey, it's
But
LeBron numbers. That's what he
Them
does.
guys was past their prime.
Exactly.
like,
Wade was a Finals MVP. Chris Bosh was a top 10 player. What are these guys talking about?
No, here's the thing that I'm gonna say real quick, man. Look,
I don't
LeBron.
understand.
Listen, LeBron may have not played with an MVP in terms of if you want to say with a Harden or Curry, which I understand. But at the same time, we cannot give LeBron a pass for that because at the same time, Wade and Bosh. That first of all, you got to remember something. Both of those guys were in the same draft class as a LeBron James, and when you look at all of the accomplishments they had, the amount of hype that those guys got. Everything that they accomplished, that was a super team because we have to remember something. Even if Kyrie and Kevin Love were not as talented as Wade and Bosh, LeBron was playing with the best talent in the NBA from the time he went to Miami all the way to
Hell
this
yeah.
2017. So LeBron had no threat in the Eastern Conference. That's why LeBron could coast in the regular season. There was nobody he really had to look over as to say for a team to really, go up against. But KD is just looking as bad. And shout out to the other Jay with this comment right here. I think this sums it up for Kevin Durant. KD ain't the bus driver or the bus rider. He's the one that stands at the door and won't sit down. He ready to jump off of any.
You could say that.
Yeah, man. All right, you guys cook real quick, man.
Incredible analogy. That's an incredible analogy right there. Hell yeah. I like that one.
You guys cook real quick. I'll be right back.
Look, the Spurs were good, but the Spurs only had one superstar. That was Tim Duncan. Tony Parker, he was old. Maya Ginobili,
them
he was
guys
old.
was past their prime, man. They was past their prime. All of them was.
Man, it's just like seeing that performance over in that finals in one of them finals games where it was impressive. And yet, like people saying, like, man, like LeBron, he just getting so scared and so feared because of the Spurs and also the Celtics. I mean, like the Celtics, all of them except for Paul Pierce are not really in their prime. They still play good, but they're not really, and they only won one championship. I just don't understand.
Them guys was past their prime. Yeah.
Both big threes were old, and Rondo was still young. So
Rondo was young, yeah.
So that comment saying that, you can't blame LeBron going to Miami. Dude, D-Wade won a Finals MVP without LeBron. Chris Bosh was a
top 10. Yeah, he was top 10 player. Yeah.
And in Cleveland too, you could argue that Kevin Love you could argue that he was a superstar in Minnesota. He just didn't have the team around him for him to win. Kyrie Irving was probably a top 10 point guard. You could argue a superstar in Cleveland. He just didn't have a team around him to win. Kevin Durant only played with one superstar. Clay's an all-star, not a superstar. Draymond's a good player, but he's not a Hall of Famer. Again, I'm not defending KD's move, but again, LeBron joined multiple superstars. KD only joined one. You know what I mean?
I mean, at the end of the day, I don't care, like, whatever reason that LeBron James is validated to go to super team or KD going to validate to super team. Both of them quit against competition in front of them. And then in order for them to win, they have to go to a team that could actually bully the entire competition. So
they both quit on their teams. They both ain't shit.
They quit against competition. Yeah. Like that is pretty much my biggest critique about LeBron. He quit about competition, and you have the tools to even could dominate while even using all these players. You got the third best shooting guard and a top 10 player in the East. Of course, you cannot beat. No one's not gonna beat you guys, but you guys still lost 2 out of 4 finals.
They should have lost 3. They should have lost 3. If Greg Popovich just doesn't take Tim Duncan out the game twice and San Antonio just makes free throws, the Spurs would have had 6 rings right now, not only 5.
Yeah.
It is crazy. But yeah, KD. I don't know. For me, I think that if KD could able to change James Harden's approach in the game, I think they would win championship. Not to say I'll be happy about it, but
only way James Harden wins a championship, he has to be the third guy, the third option on his team. He has to sacrifice his personal stats for the betterment of the team.
About being the third option. I don't think he cares. He he doesn't even care about the money. He just want to have a better legacy, which is going to get that championship.
And here's what's crazy, right? People keep saying that, oh, Durant joined the super team. Let me keep saying this, all right? The Warriors were not a super team before Kevin Durant. They lost 7 pieces to get him, all right? They cleared a bench and 2 starters to get him. And here's what's crazy, right? The Warriors only had 1 superstar. That was Steph Curry. Clay's an all-star, not a superstar. Draymond Green, he's a good player, but he's not a true all-star. He showed you this year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yep. I agree. I agree with it. I agree with the comment. I agree with it. What about you, Lou? How you feel about it?
I've been saying this for the longest, man. When you look at those 2 teams, and I said this before, man. When you look at, I said before, what he had with Wade and Bosh, LeBron had his most success because he was not able to win in Cleveland, and I said that he didn't have that second star. But what I said is, when you look at the time that the Spurs won 2 championships, on LeBron's watch, what people got to understand is that LeBron may have not been in his prime, but also if you look at the games that they lost, they were still close, which means Cleveland had a chance. I didn't say they were going to win the series, but they had a chance to make it a more competitive series. They just didn't get the job done. 3 of those 4 games were close. 3 of those 4 games were close. So there's the 01 and 07. And then if you look at what happened with Miami when they lost in 2014, that was an older Spurs team. The only guy that was young was Kawhi Leonard, really. And some of the players on that Spurs team, like a younger Danny Green, Patty Mills, they had Gary Neal on the team, I think, or he might not have been on that 2014 team, but Duncan and Ginobili were past their prime. Duncan was still playing well enough defensively, but he was 38 years old. Manu was
he was been past his prime. Hell yeah.
Exactly. And again,
I'm going to tell you this too.
Go ahead.
I'm going to tell you this too. A lot of people don't know about this. That 07 finals, Cleveland against the Spurs. Cleveland, man, could have made that series competitive. Like Lou said, they could have made it competitive. LeBron James did not have a jump shot, man. They was daring him to shoot the ball, and he would not shoot it, man. He would not shoot the basketball. They gave him that opportunity. He was getting open looks that whole series, and he would not shoot the ball. He refused to shoot it. He was like Ben Simmons out there.
And that because even though LeBron James had came into the league shooting jump shots, he was not a consistent jump shooter.
Yeah.
And the Warriors, yes, they are a super team. I'm not going to say they're not.
We're a super team with KD.
With KD.
With KD, they super team. Yeah, they makes it with KD. When KD joined, they was super team. Yeah.
But the crazy part is, even with the Warriors being a super team, though, they've had a lot of their super team really could have been a failure when you consider that in 2017 they really didn't face any competition on their way to the finals. And then on top of that, if you look at 2018, the Houston Rockets almost knocked them out of the playoffs, despite the fact that they had no Luka Bonte and Chris Paul. So they got their championships, but at the same time, it's like when you really take it with a grain of salt, were the Warriors really that dominant? Were the Warriors really that dominant? The result is they won 3 chips in 5 years. But when you look,
I don't care what nobody say, man. Oh, go ahead, Lou. My bad. Yeah.
I feel like the 2015-16 Warriors was better than those teams with KD anyway. So
yeah,
like I said, the most dominant Golden State Warriors team was 2017. The 2015 team was not dominant; they just had a great season. The 2016 team was supposed to be their most dominant team, but they were not dominant in the playoffs, and they had injuries on top of that. And Cleveland just pretty much took advantage of everything that pretty much happened. And like I said, this is why I said that the 2015 and 2016 championships cancel out. Kevin Durant going to Golden State is the best team that Golden State has ever had, because their 2018 and 2019 teams are not as strong as their 2017 team.
Hey, but correct me if I'm wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong here. If Kawhi Leonard never gets injured by that bum on Golden State, the Golden State Warriors do not win the 2017 championship. I guarantee you that shit.
Wrong. Nah, we're not gonna do that to him.
Nah, we're gonna do it.
Nah,
That's one of those I don't know type of things because that was game one. I will say that I think the series would have been more competitive, but I don't know if they win that series though.
I
That
think they
would
win
have
it, man.
nah,
that
they
would have
don't.
been
You
crazy.
think so? I doubt it.
That would have been
I
crazy.
don't think they win the series. Nah.
I think they
With
win that.
LaMarcus Aldridge on the team? Come on, man. Nah.
Come
But
on,
don't
man.
forget, guys, listen, don't forget, Tony Parker did have a quad injury. He didn't play in that series, and David Lee also hurt his leg in that series.
But that's why I'm on record as saying that a lot of people, the injuries that some of these teams had in the playoffs is why, which is so crazy because they'll go from 1 minute they'll go, Golden State was this dominant super team.
Hey, you know
But
what?
hold on, but if you go back to 2017, a lot of these dudes were like, oh, I can't stand Golden State because they really wouldn't play any competition. They talk about Portland not having Nurkic. They talk about how they didn't have Gordon Hayward in the series with Utah. Then they'll come back and they said in the finals they didn't have Kawhi Leonard after game one, and then they didn't have Tony Parker. So
And David.
it's like, right. And so they go with that. And so they'll always say that. But then it's like once the Warriors win, it'll go, oh, look who they had to go up against. I just feel like at the end of the day, there's just a double standard, man, when it comes to these arguments in basketball. It's always a double standard, man. And I just think and also good conflict, man, at the end of the day.
Hey, I changed my mind. You right. They wouldn't have won that because they had Slow-Mo Anderson.
Yeah, I say Warriors in 6 or 7. I say the Warriors still. I still think the Warriors beat the Spurs, but let's be honest. The Spurs were going to win Game 1 without Zaza. The Spurs were going to win Game 1. All right, and I'm pretty sure the Spurs could win 1 game at home. At best, I say Warriors in 6, maybe 7.
Yeah, man, that's kind of just pretty much the way to look at it, man. So just real quick, I'm just gonna look at this comment. I'm gonna ask one more question, and I'm just gonna kind of shut down the stream. We're gonna come back tomorrow, with the NBA draft. So tomorrow, So tomorrow's live stream is actually we all gonna be here for the NBA draft at 7:00. I think it's gonna be lit. So we're gonna look at some of these picks and have a lot of fun. And then we're gonna give our thoughts. On all these picks and what possible trades that might happen tomorrow. So tomorrow's tomorrow's stream is going to be NBA draft, and if you guys could come in, I'll put the link down, and you guys can come in, and then we could just pretty much kind of have like a watch party or something like that. So,
hell yeah, I like that. That'd be dope.
All right, man. So let me just look real quick. Also, 2015 Golden State and the Cavs without Kyrie and Love was a much closer matchup. Big Curry was the only All-Star, and it was his first All-Star going up against Bron, Maskoff, Thompson, J.R., Shumpert, etc. That's a good point.
True, that is true.
Much respect, Mike. Appreciate that, man. If you guys haven't like I said, man, make sure y'all subscribe and make sure y'all share these videos, and truly appreciate you guys, man. Good stuff, good debates. So I'm gonna end it with this last question, man. What is something that you guys are looking forward to in tomorrow's NBA draft? Like, what's something that you guys are that's like really interesting that you guys are looking forward to that you're like kind of, really interested in seeing, man, in tomorrow's NBA draft, man?
Well, I'm biased. I'm gonna say this. I'm just looking forward to my Detroit Pistons and what they want to do, man. Who they gonna draft? Because I think they have the 7th pick or the 8th pick. I think they got the 7th or 8th pick. So
we got the 8th pick. The Knicks
we got the 7th pick. We got the 7th pick. Yeah.
Better hope they don't get a dud.
Yeah, I'm hoping so. I hope not. I hope they don't get one.
Yeah.
Same here, man. I gotta make this quick before I go because So I'm gonna see what the Knicks try to draft, and I'm gonna see if there's any blockbuster moves for some of these teams because the Knicks, we just need a point guard. All right, the Knicks need a point guard that can help out RJ Barrett, and we'll just have to see what we do in this draft.
Okay, Sean.
I want to see what the Lakers are trying to do, and also I wanted to know like what's more into the details of the Harden trade to the Nets. I want to see how much like more they actually put in that deal.
Well, did they say they want Durant in return? That's the only way Harden goes there. They said they want Kevin Durant or Kyrie Irving.
Kyrie. They want Katie or Kyrie, I think.
No, they actually verbally agreed. with I think that James Harden must have take less money and in order for him to go over there.
Yeah, because like I said, he turned down that 2-year, $103 million extension that Houston offered him. He would have been the highest paid player, and when it came to extension, he would have been earning almost 51 million a year, but he turned
God
it
damn.
down. So he turned that down to make less money. So
He stole money his whole career anyway. Who cares?
yo, I'm crying. Yo, this guy's great, man. Yeah, man. So what I'm looking forward to, man, I'm interested to see what trades are going to happen on draft night. I'm looking to see the top 5 picks. Obviously, the Warriors is the most intriguing one since they have that, because they're the team that a lot of people are looking at because of with Steph and Clay coming back. What's Minnesota going to do with their 1 pick? Like Jay in the comments said that, Minnesota is not an attractable destination, so they're going to have to hit one, at the park. But like I said before, This is also a weak draft. So, we'll see. We'll see what happens, man.
It is a weak draft. It's not one of the good ones.
Tyree basically says, I'm interested to see if the Pelicans end up trading Lonzo to whichever team that picks his brother. That's interesting.
It is.
LeVar wants to see them guys play.
That is interesting. That is very interesting. Yeah.
I don't think they're going to trade Lonzo. I think they're going to still give him one more year.
I think
if he get that with Zion, I think they will actually let him stay.
I think for me, I know people are saying what LaMelo is doing, and I think in my opinion he's the most talented ball brother, but I just think that he's getting a little too much hype myself. I don't know what he's going to be like in the pro level. He's going to have to be a wait and see.
He got to fix his jump shot, man.
No, that's for sure. I mean,
that shit is horrible.
LeVar was saying
that
he
shit is garbage.
LeVar was saying that he could beat Jordan, but it's like Lonzo and LaMelo got the same problem, so it must run in the family somehow. They got to fix that jump shot for sure, bro. At least Lonzo's made more strides though because he's improved his 3-point shooting, so that's at least somewhat positive. He's just got to improve his free throw shooting. He's got to just be a more confident player.
And he got to be stronger too. Yeah.
He needs to use his versatility. Lonzo doesn't use his versatility.
He's gotten stronger, and I think more stronger. But I think Stan Van Gundy hopefully can get the best out of Lonzo because he needs a coach like that that actually gives him confidence in him being a better player. Because he's needed somebody like that, and he hasn't had that in the early part of his career. I mean, his 2 coaches are Luke Walton and Alvin Gentry. That should say enough right there.
No, my God. Oh my goodness! Wow.
2 coaches that have been catered to, but they really can't do squat. Honestly, nothing personal. Just
they should be coaching high school basketball, man. Personally,
I mean, it's true. And not trade Westbrook to the Pistons. I mean, would you take it?
Let's go. Yep, let's do it. Hey, it'll fill up the stands. Yep.
Right. Jay says turning down 2 for 103 mil. Houston can't be that bad. I mean, the owner's just letting you know, man, where his mind is at. He's so in love with Harden, but can't even realize he's being a dodo head if he really thinks they're going to win anyway and try to appease James Harden. James Harden is willing to be the 3rd wheel at this point. That's how much he wants to get out of Houston. He realizes he's not a number 1. All right. It's a reason the Pelicans traded for Bledsoe, right? They are coming off Alonzo and will trade him, but for who? Oh, we're going to have to wait and see. All right, man. But guys, this has been a great stream.
Trading for Westbrook.
Maybe. Who knows? All right, man. Shout out to Reese. Shout out to G Money. Shout out to Jay and Sean coming at the back burner late in the stream. Again, salute to everybody in the chat. I'm not going to be able to get to everybody, so you guys have been awesome. Tomorrow, we do an NBA draft. So, like I said, you guys come on in early. We'll chill. Have a good time. Salute to all you guys that are in here, man. And again, salute to Tyree for the $20 donation, man. Much is appreciated, man. Appreciate you guys.
Much love.
As I always say, like the videos, subscribe to the channel if you're new. Make sure you guys are sharing this on your social media platforms. From the Lewis Sports Network, as my man Ryan always says, chat, stream together, family for life. My 3L model, man. Live, laugh, love. Bless up to all of you guys. Have a blessed night. We back tomorrow with this NBA draft, and as Lewis Sports Network always says, baby, I am gone.
In the lead. That's skied out to center field. Towering shot. A.J. Pollock going back. That is gone. Big fly for Mike Trout. 2-0 Angels here in the first. Going back to getting a mistake. Breaking ball. Got it. Trout. Dead center field.
Manning's going to run. He cuts back at the one time for the goal line. Touchdown, Eli Manning.
On 2nd and 4. Manning takes off. He's inside the 5 to the end zone. Dive. Touchdown. Away 1-on-2 behind the back. Splits through. Oh, what a pass to Anderson. Hardaway. Oh, beautiful dish. Grant with the jam. The elevation now. Michael's had 2 shots blocked tonight. Penny Hardaway goes up, makes